Okay, this is OR class. No? Okay, how many of you know what is domain knowledge? Have you heard about this word on domain? Raise your hands. How many of you have studied DE, DDM, BBA, DCOM? What is domain? You have not seen anywhere? You have not seen this word anywhere? Say suppose if you are trying to get recruited yourself in healthcare industry, say SAP job. So it will ask you like you need to have prior knowledge in healthcare industry. So what does domain knowledge mean? So you should have some understanding, say business knowledge about that particular industry. Say suppose if you are technically knowledgeable. So these days, all of you know, there are readily prepared coding which is available, and most of the coding jobs are now in trade. So what is domain knowledge? So it is nothing but having conceptual understanding. So suppose if you are deputed for staff role in healthcare industry. So if you will be seeing even as an end user, if you want to use say SAP PICO or SAP SDM or healthcare industry, retail, anything, you should have some understanding. Say suppose what will happen if a person doesn't understand what is debit credit? Will he be able to use some software as an end user? It might not be possible. If you don't have an understanding of what is debit credit, you try to enter in wrong area. So instead of credit entries, you enter in debit entries, and debit entries in credit entries. So as an MBA student, is it important for you to have domain knowledge? Why? Why it is important? How do we get domain knowledge? How do we get domain knowledge? So domain knowledge is also called as business understanding. So here, how do we, as a student, how we develop our domain knowledge? So most of you sitting here, you might be interested in some sector or the other. So some may be interested in working for insurance sector, healthcare, retail industry, or sales and distribution, or you may be interested in working for banking and financial sector. So will company be interested in a person who doesn't have domain knowledge? So what you are checked right during your interview is, so whether you have business understanding. Again, business understanding in a high way is possible for the people who work in a particular industry. You can see students, if you join, say in retail sector now, in 2023, maybe June. So if you work for 2-3 months, you will not gain knowledge. When you will gain knowledge, so if you stay there for 2-3 years, you will be having conceptual understanding. You will be considered as a domain expert who is having experience in retail sector. So here you will be gaining domain knowledge when you stay in a particular industry. As a student, how you can develop domain knowledge? So some of you sitting here might be interested in joining banking and financial sector, or insurance, retail, sales and distribution. How you get domain knowledge? So through subjects, certain domains you will be gaining. Say, for example, if you are studying banking and financial service, you are getting some conceptual understanding on BFS. So if you are studying retail management, you will be getting some conceptual understanding on retail terminologies and all. So how you get domain knowledge as a student is, so when you have proper understanding of the terminologies, concepts within that particular subject. So if you say I am domain expert, I have studied full subject of banking and financial services subject. So when you are actually recruited by a company, if you don't know the difference between debenture and share, how ROI is calculated for share and how ROI is calculated for debenture. So that means you don't have a proper conceptual understanding of that particular domain. Why it is important? Why conceptual understanding is important? So many a times you end up telling that I've studied 5 subjects in marketing electives. At the end of the day, when you are asked how to calculate market share, so you are not able to tell. So you are not able to tell simple concepts like what is market penetration, what is market size. So that means you don't have proper understanding of concepts which you have studied in that particular subject. So companies may not show interest in people who don't have a basic conceptual understanding. So we are taking example as healthcare. So here domain knowledge for you as a student. It is nothing but understanding concepts, how you understand concepts of the subjects which you are studying. So understanding concepts doesn't mean writing 8 marks essays, very lengthy, not that. So you need to have basic conceptual understanding. So in 1 line or 2 lines. So every subject will be having various concepts which you need to understand. So here you need to understand these terminologies. So many of you might be thinking that I need to read according to the syllabus. I have to answer these 2 marks questions, 5 marks questions. Then you will not be able to develop domain knowledge. How you can gain domain knowledge? So at the end of textbook, you can see there is a glossary. So you need to read these concepts. Or if you are bored of reading textbook, you can listen to these concepts right on YouTube, or you can get it downloaded in the form of PDF right from Google itself. So if you want terminologies, concepts about insurance, if you just type insurance concepts PDF, you will be able to download them, some file or the other. So here, so every company in nowadays, many a times you can see if there's a BTech student who has studied engineering and he is working in TCS for the past 3 years, doing only coding job. So he is interested in shifting his role. So you know, people are now shifting roles very fastly. So if you want to shift to a particular sector, again, some business understanding relating to that particular sector is important. Many a times you can see if you are working as a software engineer for BNY Mellon. So you need to have some understanding of banking related concepts. So these people are given some kind of training on understanding these concepts right in the company which they are joining. So as an MBA student, you cannot say that I don't have proper understanding of banking related subject or sales and distribution or retail and all. You should be having some understanding or the other. So in today's world, you can see how fast jobs are getting shifted from what they were in 90s. They are no more. They are not using the same kind of job roles are not there in 2000. So the kind of job roles which you are seeing in 2022 might not exist in 2032. So the expectation of industry is, so as a student, as an employee, you need to continuously upgrade according to the trend. So domain knowledge you will be able to gain through concept. All of you know what is podcast? What is podcast? What is podcast? Podcast is audio form of lectures. So you can see various podcasts available right in various websites, Google also. So if you want to understand about sales, so you can listen to various sales related podcasts. So sometimes many of you who are sitting here, if you read textbook, you end up getting sleep. So instead you can look for other alternatives to understand concepts. So here, even in job advertisements, you might have seen, you can see any job advertisements. So they will clearly mention that you need to have domain knowledge, say in investment banking or in retail or in banking or insurance and all. So that's how, as a student, gaining domain knowledge in the fields or sectors which you are interested in is very important. So here, what is the difference between a person who has domain knowledge who doesn't have domain knowledge? So many times we end up searching for Google for every term. So if you are working in a particular company, so again, you need to understand that concept and then do your work. So people with domain knowledge will be able to increase productivity for the company. So many a times you can see this domain knowledge is considered as a prerequisite for a particular job. So if you want to get into sales is different to that of you working in software with domain knowledge. So for selling a particular product, you need not have IN knowledge. So having some understanding of that particular product, technical features relating to that particular product is enough. But if you want to work in SAP SDM, you need to have this domain knowledge, end-to-end knowledge of sales concepts, terminologies, and all. So how to get this domain knowledge? How many of you watch YouTube to understand concepts? Raise your hands. How many of you watch songs on YouTube? So those who have not raised hands earlier, you are not in the system. How many of you watch movies on YouTube? No. So these are all the options available to gain domain knowledge. So you can see, you can watch videos, articles. So how many of you have seen opened Economic Times newspaper? How many of you have seen Economic Times newspaper? Raise your hands. Not while going in a shop, displayed in a shop. How many of you have opened the e-version of Economic Times? So within Economic Times, you might have seen on the top, you have segmentation of the paper. So about stock markets, you will be seeing in one paper, about marketing brands, you will be seeing in another paper. So out of this total newspaper, Economic Times paper, so if you are interested in marketing, you can read that particular paper. So about brands, marketing. So if you are interested in financial sector, you can read those news. So here you can gain domain knowledge through videos, articles, news, webcasts. So nowadays you can see with COVID situation, so even CEOs are giving free webinars. So if you just log into YouTube and type live webinars, you'll be sometimes getting whatever live webinars are happening at present. So some of you, if you register in ET, Economic Times website, so if there are any webinars organized by Economic Times, you'll be getting a mail. So all these, some of these webinars might get connected with you well. So like if you are interested in a particular domain, so if there is a webinar relating to that particular domain, you can attend those webinars. So similarly, project documents. So these are all the sources wherein you'll be able to get domain knowledge. Say, why domain knowledge? So many times you can see you join financial sector, you want to move to healthcare sector. After some time, 3 years, you want to move to supply chain management, from supply chain management to retail. So if you want to move from sector to sector, you need to gain this domain knowledge. So person who is working in healthcare sector and you want to get into supply chain management in FMCG sector, so they will not pick you just like that. So you need to have some domain knowledge relating to FMCG sector and how goods are being distributed. Goods are being distributed in FMCG sector. So in today's world, you can see the sectors which one of the sector which is highly stable is FMCG sector, fast moving consumer goods. So this particular sector was not affected much even during COVID times. So you might have seen other sectors like tourism sector. Certain sectors were growing at 200-300% like healthcare and all, healthcare, pharmacy, pharma and all. So other sectors were degrowing. So other ways of getting knowledge is, say suppose you want to gain domain knowledge on FMCG sector. So the way products are moved, how they are being sold, what what consumers are preferring. So in today's world, you can see right now, lot of small packs are impacting larger pack sales. So for example, if you take shampoo, so right from a roadside beggar to a person who is earning 1 lakh a month, 1 lakh per month, both of them are buying sachets. So what is the difference between buying sachets to that of bigger bottles, big packs? Why consumers are not preferring buying big packs? Why consumers are not preferring big packs, large packs? It is cost. Again, for example, if you take some products like shampoo, so if there are children below, say 7-8 years age, so it will not take more than a minute to pour 300 ml shampoo on the floor. So if it is sachet, so not much is getting wasted. So even if you take certain other products like health beverages, Horlicks, Boost, Bournvita, so that category also people are buying smaller packs. Why? Again, you need to handle this product effectively. So if you open an Horlicks bottle cap and if you don't close it properly, so the product will get into another shape. So even biscuits, why there is a lot of shift to smaller packs is, all of us know whenever you open your biscuit packet, so if it is a larger pack, even if you put it in a tight container, you will lose that crispiness. So as you were having the biscuit for the first time. So that's why 5 rupees, 10 rupees packs are ruling the market now. So the other sources of getting domain knowledge is networking with people who are working in similar domain. So there are multiple opportunities on how you can network with the same kind of people. So if you are sticking to a particular company for certain time frame, maybe 1 year, 2 years, 3 years like that, minimum 3 years, you will be able to gain the required domain knowledge in the sector which you are working. If you are joining in sales and distribution role, so if you stick to that particular company for 2-3 years, you will be able to gain domain knowledge. So here we have taken healthcare as an example. So if you are sticking to a particular company, you will be able to get the required knowledge. So here, why it is important is, so when you will be able to increase your knowledge, if you are working in healthcare industry, so if you try to understand what problems people are facing, say suppose if you are working in hospital administration, and the major problem in hospital, whenever we visit very big corporate hospitals, so customers are facing problems in two areas. One is getting OP done by the patient. Second is whenever you are getting admitted in a particular hospital for surgery or bigger kind of treatment, so getting mediclaim is a big process. So again, people are made to stay in the hospital for 1 or 2 days extra because the claim is yet to be cleared by the concerned insurance company. So here, when we develop products based on understanding of people problems, so these products will be accepted immediately. So today you can see every big hospital is automated in a big way now. So right from taking OP to till you vacate the hospital room. So everything is automated. So many of you might be thinking that BTech student need not have business understanding. So you need to have. So whatever software job which you are doing. So some of you, them might be working in telecom sector, some may be in banking, some may be in insurance sector. So having business understanding of that particular domain is important. So a person without business understanding and a person with business understanding will be able to work faster. So though he is a BTech graduate, so out of interest, if he has gained this domain knowledge, so he will be able to work faster than the person who is without business knowledge. So how you can network with people? So I've told you, similar kind of jobs which people are doing. So the popular social media is, all of you know LinkedIn. So LinkedIn is one place. LinkedIn is one place where you can network with people. So many a times people who are sitting here might be interested in one sector or the other. So some of you might be interested in sales and distribution or supply chain management, finance and control. There are various modules in SAP. What is R2R? What is R2R? Record to reporting. So we maintain finance records. So we should be able to convert these records to reporting module. So many a times when you have to understand health of the company, on what basis we'll be understanding whether this company is good or bad? It is based on the statement, profit and loss account statement.